A Cuban dissident says he plans to run for office come election time this fall, but he fears the government will try to keep that from happening.
Also today, a UN expert on human rights is in Cuba for special meetings with the communist country's civil society. Here's Hatso's exclusive report from Havana.
Good morning.
It's day 2 in Cuba for Virginia Danden, the United Nations independent expert on human rights who's visiting the island for the first time. Danden will be investigating how Cuba cooperates with other states, how it promotes human rights, and its humanitarian response to disasters. Human rights expert will be here through Friday and at some point is expected to brief the press. Staying on the same human rights subject, on Monday the Cuban government reminded the press of their electoral process, which starts with municipal elections in October. The Electoral Commission assured us as long as they meet the qualifications, anyone, including dissidents in Cuba, can run for office. But Elicer Avila tells a different story. For the first time, the high-profile dissident is running for what amounts to be a representative of his neighborhood in Havana. He can technically, according to Cuban law, reach the National Assembly and even become president. Except he claims he and others who plan to run have already been harassed, accused of crimes as a way to keep them from legally running for office. His house was randomly searched, he says, was told they suspected he had weapons and drugs. But it's been 3 months and no evidence of a crime has been presented against the 31-year-old. Really just proof, he says, the Cuban government fears these independent opposition candidates. The main and the most important problem he sees with the electoral law in Cuba is that candidates cannot actively campaign. The system they have now is just a formality, he says, where decisions are already made by those in power. Elections can come and go, he says, but nothing will change unless Cubans change their attitudes and lose their apathy. I'm Hatso, Local 10 News, Havana.